Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy 45 back with another edition of the Hot Seat. I got a special guest with me today. I don't know, what do I call you, man? Cory Moore, Cory Stones? What do you want to be called, bro? Introduce yourself to the people.
Man, you can call me whatever you want, man. Cory Stones, Cory Moore, just Cory. It's all the same.
Now, I've known you we've known each other for how long? Like since the 8th grade, right?
Man, since I was 12 is when I met you, man.
Fucking crazy, man. Time flies, right? Now I'm 30. I'm 35. I turned 36 in January, and yeah, here we are, man. Now you got your own business, man. Tell people about what you do. Tell people about your business, man.
Yeah, man. So I'm the CEO of J&M Jewelry. I started that company, which is a division. It's kind of our domestic division of a larger company that's based overseas. And so J&M Jewelry is the domestic division here in the United States. I started that company in 2005 as I was getting close to finishing college. And really what I wanted to do was take a business model from our parent company, bring that over here to the United States, and really provide a true wholesale price to regular consumers. And as you know, with jewelry, most people think that their only option is to walk into a box store inside the mall and pay for a lower quality product at a outrageous price. And so what we try to do is we try to specialize in a higher quality product, and we really try to deal specifically with a true wholesale price. And there's a lot of people that throw around the name wholesale price. We're wholesalers. But when you look at their quality and when you look at their product, they're really just another retail jeweler. So we specialize in custom designs, larger diamonds, gemstones, anything in between. But that's it, man. That's what we do here at J&M Jewelry.
So basically, you know what I'm saying? Like everything you do is custom made. Nothing in there is a piece that only way they can make the piece over and over and over again is if you make it yourself. That's
yeah,
it.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people throw the term out, custom made. There's really two terms that we like to use. Number one is custom made, and then the other term is made to order. And so every product that we sell is made to order, whether it's a custom design or a standard design. It's all made to order. And that's really the best way to manufacture jewelry. When you go into a store and you pick a piece of jewelry out of the case, specifically a ring, many times that ring is not going to have the size that you want, or it's not going to have the stone that you want. And so you have to modify that piece of jewelry to make it what you want. During those modifications, there's really a lot of manipulation to the metal and things that can jeopardize the strength and the quality of the product. And so what we do, whether it's a custom design or a standard product, is everything is made to order. So if the customer says, hey, I want this ring in 14 karat yellow gold, I want it with blue sapphires and white diamonds, and I need it in a finger size 6, then we make it correctly from the beginning so that there's no manipulation in the product. The strength of the product and the product quality will last the test of time.
Now, has jewelry? No, I'm going to cut you. Now, has jewelry been the only venture that you've had? Like you've had a clothing line too, right? When you've before it, a couple clothing lines.
Yeah, so I'm a serial entrepreneur. That's kind of what I like to call myself. Yeah. And it's a slippery slope, man. And I say that in a good term, because once you begin to be an entrepreneur, you really have no other option, because you get comfortable working for yourself. You get comfortable working in your own environment and working in your own schedule. And as you go further and further on in doing that, then the harder it becomes to go to another non-entrepreneurial job, like a corporate job or an office job or something like that. So to answer your question, yes, man, I started my first business when I was 21 years old. I started a fitness, what was at the beginning stages, it was personal training and it was nutritional services. And then we grew that company to be like a full-scale management company where we were designing fitness centers and doing all the operations from management, marketing, personal training, all the way down to janitorial. And during that process, I started an athletic clothing company that I really feel was ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I wish I would have started that business now, or maybe 5 years ago instead of 15 years ago.
That's why I brought it up, man, because it seemed like you saw the vision before everybody else did, because you was really on this fitness thing, and you've always been like that your whole life, bro. Ever since I've known you, since we were kids, you always been on this fitness thing, watching what you eat, always working out, lifting weights, things of that nature, man. So you had the vision before a lot of people did, and if you were to start that business now, booming, because everybody,
Yeah,
or is
it's
it kind of saturated now?
Yeah, I mean, it is saturated now for sure, man. But I mean, you look at companies like, for example, Lululemon. Lululemon is a Canadian company that specializes in women's athletic gear, but they also have men's clothing as well. Their clothing is very expensive, but they're dealing with a high quality product. They're doing things that makes the product more expensive, but also makes it last longer. They're probably one of the prime examples of somebody that's really hit the nail on the head to finding that niche athletic clothing market. And when I started it, I was in college. I had some other people involved in that business that, to say it politely, wasn't the best thing for the business. And it was a very capital intensive business, meaning we needed a lot of money to compete with some of those big dogs to produce inventory and everything else. So although I'm not doing the athletic clothing business now, the money that I spent on that business and the lessons that I learned in that business can be applied to any other thing that I'm doing in the future. And, the same thing goes with health and fitness. I believe that the things that you learn with participating in health and fitness, the time management, the work ethic, the dedication, the self-discipline, those are all things that will apply to anything, whether it's business or family or anything that you're trying to do. So, the old saying, man, you hear not everybody is successful in every single venture that they do, but it's okay, because you don't have to be successful in everything that you do. You really just need to be successful in one thing that you do. And sometimes you have to fail in other things before you find that thing that you're successful in. So that's where I look.
Good stuff. Now, how did you get into the jewelry game, man?
How
did you do that?
So it's a funny story, man. When I was getting close to graduating college, I had an opportunity to go to Israel in 2005. And when I was in Israel, I hooked up with what was at the time my girlfriend's relatives. Now we're married. We've been married for over 10 years. And at that time, I was introduced to her cousins who had a factory in Israel. And they were young guys, two brothers that were taking over their father's company. And they, had been around for about 40 years at that time. So I had an opportunity to get involved with them in 2005. I talked to them about what I was doing in the health and fitness industry. And they basically said, hey, we want to bring our business model over there. We want you to kind of represent what we're doing. We're going to give you free reign, let you do what you want. We're going to provide you with the diamonds, and we want you to see what you can do. So that was 2005. Here we are coming up on 14 years that the business has been established. And that's really it, man. So I saw an opportunity, and I jumped on that opportunity not knowing really anything about jewelry, and just kind of hit the ground running, man.
Now is diamonds and gold, is it more expensive over there in Israel, or is it more like the same across the board? Or does it fluctuate when you get over here?
Yeah, so it's good. That's a great question, man. When you're dealing with commodities, and I don't want to get too detailed, but everything is a commodity. Diamonds, gold, oil, gas, platinum, even wheat. All of these things are commodities that are going to have simple economics, related to them, supply and demand. So when you're talking about the price of gold, there's a market value for the price of gold, and that market value is global. So if you're going to buy raw gold, you're going to pay the price, or you're supposed to pay the price that it is on the current market value. Now, the same thing applies to diamonds. The only challenge is that information is not as easily accessible and available to the general public. So when they walk into Jared's Jewelry or any of these other box name stores that you're familiar with, they're going to pay retail price, which is whatever that retailer wants to charge you. So somewhere like Tiffany's versus Jared's, they're going to be a big difference in the price of their product. But at the end of the day, they're still selling you gold. They're still selling you diamonds. So to answer your question, we are sourcing diamonds from Israel, and we are wholesaling those diamonds at a below retail price, which is based on the commodity of the market value. So yes, it is cheaper in Israel. The gold is going to be the same price as it is anywhere else, but certainly having access to the manufacturers, which is what we do, right? We take the diamonds, we cut them, we polish them, we make them finished stones. So we get our hands on those diamonds and gemstones before anybody else in the supply chain, and that supply chain gives us the lowest price. We can make a small margin and then pass on those savings to the end consumer.
Now, before you got involved in, so before and after, do you look at jewelry differently now? I mean, obviously, right? But tell us a bit about how do you look at jewelry compared to what it was before you got into the business? Because I mean, I'm thinking like every other guy, right? You meet a girl, you're ready to get married, you got to go to Tiffany's, you got to go to, Jared's, right? That's what the commercial tells you to get a ring. We don't think to go, hey, let's go over here and get something one of one made, a custom ring made, and it can come out. We can still spend the same amount of money and get more value for our dollar.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, you know the old saying, like, oh man, you become a wine snob, you start drinking wine, and next thing you know, man, you're a wine snob. That's kind of how I feel about jewelry, man, and it's good and bad. And what I mean by that is I know so much about the business now that I can't help but to look at every single detail more than most people would ever even think to even evaluate. And so when you're in the business, you know everything that people that are not in the business don't know, right? And so, yes, it's absolutely changed my thought process on quality. It's changed my thought process on marketing. When you look at retail stores and you look at their marketing techniques, to say it politely, a lot of their marketing is just complete BS. It's just lies. And they don't disclose the fine print that you really should be disclosing when you're dealing with fine jewelry, such as things like clarity enhanced diamonds or color enhanced diamonds or lab created gemstones, right? You might see an advertisement in the mall that says emerald gemstones, $200. So you run over there and you think you're going to buy a genuine emerald for $200, but in reality, it's a lab created emerald that they're advertising as an emerald. And if you don't know the details or you don't know those right questions to ask, you're going to go in that store, pay $200, buy an emerald, walk out thinking you got a fantastic deal, but you got basically a lab created stone that's not a genuine emerald. So that's just one example of a lot of what's going on in the jewelry business that is not necessarily on the up and up. That's why it's very important that you deal with sources that you trust, deal with people who are going to be straight with you, and disclose that information so the consumer knows exactly what they're getting, man.
Good stuff, man. Now, when you talk about like what do you say? What did you say? Like stones? How do they make? Like,
so yeah, there's different processes. Like when something comes out of the ground, it's what you consider genuine or natural.
Okay.
And when something is lab created,
there you go.
It's just like a cubic zirconian, right? A cubic zirconian is a fake diamond. It's what they call a laboratory stone. It's a stone that's been created in a laboratory. It's not created in a mountain, like with pressure and all the natural processes that happens with diamonds, or same thing with gemstones. So, there's different treatments. You could take a genuine diamond and you can treat it with radiation and different color and different things like that. So you can improve what the diamond or the gemstone looks like above and beyond how it came out of the earth. And it's very much affecting the value rather than if it came out of the earth that way. And so people think, hey, you know what, man, I'm going to go and buy this $5,000 ring, and maybe it doesn't work out in the future, 10 years down the road. You need to sell that ring. and people think they're going to go and get $5,000 because that's what they paid for it. And if you're not careful with the price that you pay or the product that you buy, you're going to end up, number one, overpaying, or you're going to end up, two, paying for something that you don't know what you really have. And with these kind of items, especially fine jewelry, certified gemstones, certified diamonds, these are things that are going to only appreciate in value as long as you pay the right price and you buy the right item that you think you buy.
Okay. I hope people out there paying attention, man. It's hard. It was hard to get my boy on here for an interview. He's always running around doing big things, man. I see you go to Colorado a lot too. What's up with that?
Man, I love Colorado, man. If I could live there, I would, man, for multiple reasons, if you know what I mean. But
yeah, I get you.
Colorado's a beautiful place, man. I feel like when I go to Colorado, it recharges my battery. It helps me relax. It helps me kind of just get rid of some stressors, man, be out in the mountains, be out in the fresh air, and then come back to the city life and the grind in Houston. It's a big difference, man. But I go out there for fun, but we also have some business out there, man. We're working on a reality show right now.
Okay.
So we partnered up with some of our friends who are also our colleagues that we do business with. They're out in Buena Vista, Colorado, which is about 2 hours west of Denver. They have a store out there, and what they do is they mine aquamarine on the top of Mount Antero, which is 14,000 feet in elevation. So when they mine that aquamarine, they give us the rough stone. We cut and polish it into a finished gem, give it back to them, and then they sell it through their outlets. And we also have product in their store, and we do a lot of custom designs and stuff with those guys. But they had a reality show that was featured on the Weather Channel, and it was called Prospectors. I think it went on for about 4 seasons, and we were featured on that show about 2 years ago. So that show has been canceled, but they are actually starting a new show, and it's called Mount Antero Treasures.
Now, how'd you get linked up with them to begin with? Just by going to Colorado, just networking, just shooting the shit?
Man, you want to know a funny story, man? Actually, my grandfather, he's about 90 years old, man, and he introduced me to these people. And I would have never imagined that my grandfather would have had these connections, but he was kind of hanging out with another woman, and his first wife passed away many years ago, so he kind of found another woman that he was having some fun with in his older ages.
Yeah.
And said, hey, you need to meet these people that I was introduced to. And lo and behold, man, he introduces me to them. I tell them what we're doing. The next thing you know, we're producing custom designs for them. We're cutting gemstones for them. We're up on Mount Antero getting filmed by the Weather Channel. And then here we are doing this other reality show. So this other reality show, they're still in the process of filming the pilot and pitching it to some networks and all that. But everything should be wrapped up with that first pilot, I think, in October of this year.
Good stuff, man. Now, you also did a pretty cool photo shoot in New York, too, didn't you? In New York, right?
Yeah. So, it's one of those things, man. I've learned through business that you can have the best plan in the world. You can have the best information in the world. You can be planning for everything, but sometimes the best opportunities are the ones that you don't expect, the ones that come out of left field, And so I was in New York back, I guess it was in May, and I was there doing some working with our partners out there, and I got a random message from someone who I'd never met with and didn't know, and they had a photo shoot scheduled, and the jewelry company that was supposed to be a part of this photo shoot left them hanging, didn't provide them any jewelry, kind of put them in a bind. So they said, hey, we found the Asher and Emerald collection. We want to see if you're available in New York to have some opportunity to be a part of the shoot. So I said, well, yeah, but I'm leaving in the morning. So as long as we can do it first thing in the morning, then I'll bring some jewelry and we'll make it happen. And so the next thing I know, man, we're in a photo shoot in Soho, Manhattan. And it was a great shoot. They had Dolce & Gabbana. They had Steve Madden. They had a lot of other big brands that were a part of this shoot. And it was featured in Resident magazine and featured in some other publications in the New York and Los Angeles area. So it was an opportunity, man, that kind of came out of nowhere.
Wow, man. So you also your business basically builds on like just word of mouth, trust, and just like networking and opportunities, right?
That's right, man. To be honest, man, we've spent so much money on marketing over the years, and that marketing dollars that we spend never ever generate the amount of money that word of mouth does. And so it's kind of one of those things, man, because as you know, being a business owner and doing your thing, marketing is not cheap. And it's a struggle when you are a small fish in a big pond in the world of marketing, because there's a lot of marketing budgets from the big dogs that can just gobble you up just like nothing, spending $1 million a month on marketing campaigns and things like that. And that's just crazy money, man. Where we're at, we can't spend that kind of money on marketing, because if we did, we would have to charge the consumer a retail price. So our whole business model is to try to keep overhead low and really pass on the savings and provide a true wholesale price to those customers. And so word of mouth, referrals has always been the best thing for us, and that just allows us to take care of customers, keep our overhead low, and then much of our business is repeat customers, people not only telling their family and friends, but them purchasing additional items because they were happy with the product quality and the process of engagement. Man,
man, I'm gonna keep using you. Like you did a couple things for me, man, already. I'm gonna keep coming back and we're gonna get some more work in. But I appreciate your wisdom, man, that you've given us, because a lot of people they see the flash and these rappers, like 6ix9ine, for instance. 6ix9ine's got his jury took, so they say, or whatever the case, and then he backdoored and he got another. He rigged it up on the ice, and a lot of people always wonder, like, man, how did his piece get done in 10 days? Like, how did that come about? Is that really possible? And, it's just, you taught me a lot about jewelry. So it's kind of like, man, is that 10 karat that is set in 10? Is it set in 10 karat gold? Is it set in 14 karat gold? Is it set in 24 karat gold? Like, what is it set in? Because I see a lot of chains on the market that are out there, and it's all 10 karat. And I'm confused. I'm like, I didn't even know that even existed.
Yeah, I mean, it's like anything, man. Kind of going back to what I said about the lab-created stones or the enhanced stones, and they don't disclose that information. The same thing applies to the finished pieces of jewelry as well, man. I mean, there's ways to do it right, and then there's ways to do it cheap. And typically, the right way is never going to be the cheapest way. And sometimes with customers, many times with customers, the only thing that they want to focus on is the price, the number that they see. And that's the case with buying a house or buying a car or buying clothes or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, there's a lot of details that go into jewelry that you have to take the time to educate consumers on, especially if it's a consumer who's interested in that information, or it's a consumer like yourself who's wanting to mass produce items. The stuff that we did for you, LA, was, hey, we're gonna make these pieces so that we can reproduce these in the future. And it's different processes that you go through if you're going to make one item, or if you want to try to replicate that item over and over and over for a mass production order. So yeah, man, I mean, we want to educate customers, because when you educate customers, it makes you look even better, because they understand what we're doing, and they understand that, hey, this is why J&M's price may be a little bit more than these guys that we found at the flea market, or these guys that we found over here. It's not always an apples to apples comparison. What I like to tell people is, we are not the cheapest jeweler. We're never going to be the cheapest jeweler. What we are is, we are the highest quality jewelry at the lowest price, which is two very different things from being the cheapest jeweler.
Correct. Now, so like these Cuban link chains, like how are they mass produced, or are they man made? Or because I know you told me a while back about how chains are made. Like, chains are made by machines.
Yeah, most chains are made by machines, but when you get into the really big, heavy Cuban link chains, the popular stuff that you're seeing now, most of those chains are going to be made by hand. And especially when you start having the links with individual diamonds mounted on them and all that. So there's, you could of course do Cuban links in 10 karat, and 10 karat is less pure gold than 14 karat or 18 karat. So you can make it in 10 karat. It's going to cut the weight in gold way down. So the overall cost of the piece is going to be a lot less. But if you do it in 14 karat, there's going to be more gold. It's going to be pure gold. So the value is going to be higher. It's going to cost you more money. But yes, the way we make Cuban link chains is we actually make them by hand. And so each one of those links is individually made, individually, folded and molded into that flat Cuban link style that you're so familiar with. But they do have the ability to make them with machines. And most of the chains that you see are going to be made by machines.
Now, for you to make a Cuban link chain in 14 karat gold, just off the top of your head, how much you think something like that will cost to make? Not even including the design cost, just like the cost in gold.
So there's a lot of variables there. Like number one, the length of the chain. If the chain is 20 inches, if it's 22 inches or 24 inches, that's all going to play a role in the price. If you're talking about the width of the chain, how many millimeters wide that chain is. If it's 4 millimeters wide versus 8 millimeters wide, then you're going to have twice the price if it's 4 millimeters versus 8 millimeters, because it's twice the width. So there's a lot of information there. Without, for me to just throw a price off the top of my head. But
gotcha. Understandable.
Yeah. I mean, if you see some of these, like for example, in New York, man, the Cuban links are very popular, and they're advertising 1 ounce Cuban link chains. So or excuse me, not 1 ounce, 1 kilo. So the entire chain weighs 1 kilo worth of gold. Now, if it's 14 karat, then it's not 100% pure gold, or if it's 10 karat, or even if it's 18 karat, most jewelry is never going to be 100% pure gold because it's too soft, it's too brittle. They add alloys to the gold to make it stronger and to make it lower cost. But your average gold that you see in America today is 14 karat. And so, depending on all those variables, man, I mean, you can have a chain that may cost you a couple thousand all the way up to 100,000, depending on what you're doing to the chain. How big is the chain? How much does it weigh? How thick is it? Are you adding diamonds to both sides of the links? And all those variables will add up. It's not responsible for me just to throw out a number without. You know what I'm saying, right?
I really asked the question, man, just so you can break it down for people. I wasn't expecting you to be able to give me an actual number. I just really wanted you. I got you on here, man, because I want you to, because the education part of it, like you're gonna help somebody save money, and not get robbed going out to these hip hop jewelers. No offense to them, no knock to them, but it's like you're paying for a name and you're not getting the best quality that you could be getting if you would go somebody that's actually doing you right, helping you out.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I've heard horror story after horror story from not just the hip hop jewelers, but even the big box jewelers that you've heard of. And I don't want to go through and name names.
Yeah, we can't name names because it's not like it's just. I just brought you, like I said, on, just to educate my listeners, man, because I see a lot of people just they make bad investments with jewelry, and that's what it is. It's an investment.
Absolutely, it is an investment, and there is a true market value for diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, all of that. And the closer that you can pay to that true commodity value, the more that you're going to protect your investment. And when you're walking into a retail store, you're not paying commodity value. You're not paying close to commodity value. You're paying full retail price. And that's where you have to be careful, because you have to wait 500 years before that piece of jewelry becomes worth the amount of money that you paid for it when you're paying full retail price.
Now, how come there's a rarity in rose gold? Because like my piece that you made for me was in rose gold black diamonds, and it took me high and low to look for a chain. I finally came across one. It was a 14 karat Italian rope chain, and it was like $1,500. Well, it was 2,000 and something, but I got it for like $1,500.
Yeah. So basically, the rose gold isn't rare; it's uncommon. And making sure that we understand the differences there. Rare means, basically when you dig gold up out of the ground, the gold color naturally is always yellow. It's never going to be a different color when it comes out of the ground. It's always yellow gold. What they do to make it white or rose is they add different alloys to the metal and different additives to change the color. For example, with rose gold, they're adding copper, right? Copper is being added to yellow gold to make it this pinkish rose color. So one of the reasons why you ran into that issue was because a lot of retailers or a lot of people who are making jewelry don't want to make a bunch of product that is uncommon and most likely going to sit on the shelf for a long time. And although rose gold is popular, it's less popular than white or yellow gold. So most of the chains that you see are going to be white gold and yellow gold. And so it's very rare to see, longer or larger, thicker rose gold chains because it's a lot of money that they put out on that product and they don't know how quickly it's going to sell. Does that make sense?
Correct. Now, when I go to the mall and stuff, like the little jewelry guys that set up in the middle, most of the chains is like 10 karat. It's like mostly 10 karat. But what I noticed is that all 10 karat chains don't look the same.
Right.
And why is that? Is it because of what they put in it to make it? This one looks more yellow than this one. This one looks more shinier than that one.
There is a lot of that, man. And, so 10 karat, to break it down for you in the math, 10 karat gold contains 37.5% gold. And so basically you could say 40%, just round the number to 40%. So when you have a gold chain and it's 10 karat and you throw it on the scale, let's say it weighs 20 grams. If it's 10 karat gold, 40% of that is gold. All the other additives are silver and copper, zinc and nickel, things like that. They add it. It's basically like cutting the gold, right? They're diluting the gold to make it go further. And so when you talk about the differences between 10 karat gold, where you see these different chains and stuff, there's a lot of different things that could be going on there. For example, they may only make it 9 karat gold, but they're going to stamp it 10 karat because they don't care. They're never going to see you again. They know you're not going to go and test the gold. So in reality, they stamped it 10 karat, but it may be only 8.5 or 9 karat gold. Or it may be 11 karat gold. For example, they add too much gold and they don't know how to do that chemical breakdown, so they give you more than what it's supposed to be. So you may look at a chain and it may be a little more yellow or a little bit more shiny or look a little bit more pure in the color, and there may be some of that differences going on as well. The other part of it is the finishes. A lot of times when jewelry is finished, it can have a matte finish to it, or it can have a satin finish to it, or it could be blasted with sand to make it kind of rough. Or what's more common is what they call high polish, which is just a really, really glassy, shiny finish. So there may be a difference in what you're seeing for several different reasons, man. But a lot of times when you're looking at 10 karat gold, especially when you're dealing with guys like a flea market or somebody in the middle of the mall, and I don't mean to knock these guys, but there's a lot of corners that those guys cut, even if it's just 1 or 2%. It doesn't sound like a lot, but at the end of the day, man, to the bottom line, that makes a big difference if they're, telling you it's 10 karat, but it's only 8 karat, and they're putting the rest of that money in their pocket.
So even if they can just stamp the jewelry whatever they want really on it and sell it.
Yeah, they're not supposed to. I mean, there is laws in the United States that say you're not supposed to sell gold less than 10 karat. There's absolutely laws that say that. And there's absolutely laws that say if it's stamped 10 karat, it has to be 10 karat. The problem becomes enforcing those laws, because in order for your regular consumer to know that, they have to buy the gold, they have to test it with an acid test or another test, and then they've got to determine, oh, okay, this guy told me it was 10 karat, but it looks like it's less than that. And so then they have to file a complaint on that company. They have to take it to the Better Business Bureau or all the different processes that are out there. And many people just don't do that. Many people just don't do that, enforcing of the law, or they don't have the intelligence or the know-how to figure all that out. And so those people selling that product are banking on the fact that the consumers are not educated.
Got you. Now, I got to ask you this question, man. I always ask you this question. You ever going to start doing grills, man, so you can make me a grill?
Man, it's not that we won't do them. It's one of those things, man, where when I got in the business, majority of our business was custom jewelry and engagement rings. And the majority of the jewelry business as a whole is engagement rings. It's about 60 to 70% of the business makes up engagement rings and wedding jewelry, wedding bands, and different things like that. So naturally, that's a majority of what we do. And because of that, our consumer base has been focused a lot on that type of product. But if someone comes to us and they want us to do a grill, we're not going to tell them no. Absolutely, we're not going to tell them no. The problem becomes many of the people who are looking for grills, they want a product at a certain price point. And like we've talked about before, we don't want to do products at a certain level that are going to jeopardize the customer's, satisfaction or our reputation. And so for us to put a 10-carat grill in someone's mouth, we know that most likely they're going to have problems with that product in the future, and they're going to call us back, and they're not going to be happy with us.
I want to do 18 karat. I want to do an 18 karat grill.
Yeah, I mean, let me give you another example real quick, man. I don't want to get off topic, but we're dealing with a customer right now who did not know that she was allergic to white gold. She had no idea. Well, after she bought a ring and she's been wearing it around for a year, she's allergic to it. She's got an allergy to white gold, and most likely it's some of the additives that are in the white gold that she's allergic to. It's not the gold itself, but the additives. And so we are remaking this product for her because she's allergic to it. So that's an example of kind of what I'm talking about. If we give a customer a 10-carat grill, or we cut the costs on a grill to accommodate a particular customer, we know that that's probably going to backfire on us and hurt us in the future. So if a customer wants a grill, we want to do it at the right way. We want to use pure golds or higher quality golds. We want to manufacture it in a way that we know we can stand behind. And oftentimes when you find customers who are wanting grills, they're only focusing on the price. So it becomes a challenge because they really have to understand the differences between this grill they found over at this place and the grill we're quoting them, because they think it's the same thing, although the price may be different.
So when rappers say they spend like $60,000 on a grill, or like $70,000 on the grill, or all this other stuff, they really just saying that they're paying for mostly for like the gold, right? And then like to set the diamonds in it, right?
Yeah, or the name, or the
name. There you go.
Yeah, or the name, and there's a lot of jewelers in New York City that we deal with on a regular basis, and these guys are dealing with the biggest names you can imagine. And the more and more I've gotten into this business, the more and more that I've figured out, a lot of these entertainers, they're not even paying for these pieces of jewelry. For example, they'll be given these expensive pieces of jewelry, and they'll be told, okay, hey, I'm going to give you this piece of jewelry. I want you to wear it for a year, 6 months. I want you to advertise that you bought this piece of jewelry from me, the jeweler, and you don't have to pay for this jewelry, but in a year, I want you to give it back to me. And you don't have to Google search for very long to see who I'm talking about and see how common this is. But many times, the rappers, they won't even return the jewelry. They'll just keep it.
And that's when the jeweler sues.
Yeah, next thing you know, there's a lawsuit, and there's this, there's that. So a lot of times these jewelers or jewelry stores are giving these big entertainers or rappers these pieces because they know that it's going to be advertisements for them. And so even though the chain costs $60,000, they may not have paid a dime for it.
Got you. Man, good stuff, man. So before I let you go, man, you got to give me your top 5 artists of all time, dead or alive. No matter from any background of art. It could be music, movies, art, whatever the case may be. Wine makers, anything. It don't matter. Give me a top 5 artists, dead or alive.
Oh, man. All right. You got me thinking. Okay, so I'm going to do music and I'm going to do art in general, man. I'm going to say I got to go number 1 in order. Or I can just give them to you.
No, just give them to me. Just randomly. It don't matter.
All right. Rappers, absolutely by far, it's Pac and Biggie. I mean, there's no debating that, man. When we were in military school, LA, we witnessed the whole murder of both of those guys, man.
Yeah, it was crazy. They announced it. They announced it over the intercom when they both died. It's crazy. Yeah.
I mean, so I can remember that like it was yesterday. And those two artists were a big part of my adolescent upbringing, man. So Biggie and Pac for sure. They're right there. Artists. I have to go with Nikola Tesla, and I'm going to say Nikola Tesla because he was an artist, but he was an inventor. And if you don't know anything about Nikola Tesla, or Nikola Tesla, however you want to say his name, Google him, check him out. There's a lot of things that guy invented and created that are still being done today. So Nikola Tesla for sure, Leonardo da Vinci for sure. So those are two there, and then I'm gonna throw you off with this one, man. But I've been really jamming this guy, Matis Yahoo. And if you don't know who he is, man, check him out. He's kind of he's like it's like reggae rap almost, man. But this guy's lyrics, he's a Hasidic Jew from Israel, and his albums have changed throughout the years, man. He was real, religious, talking about Israel and all that stuff in the beginning, and he's kind of modified what he sings about now. But his name is Matis Yahoo, and lyrically, man, the guy is a genius. And so that's my list right there. Pac, Biggie, Tesla, Da Vinci, and Matis Yahoo.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on here, man. I know you're a busy dude, man, running around, man. So before I let you go, man, also go ahead and give out the address, man, where y'all located. Where is your store located?
Yeah, so we have multiple locations. So our corporate office is located in Houston, Texas. If you want more information about our business, check us out online. It's www.jandmjewelry.com. Everything's spelled out, JANDMJEWELRY.com. We've got multiple locations. We work by appointment only, so we are not a retail store. We do have multiple offices in Texas, and we do have satellite offices as well. So if you are in another location that isn't where we advertise an office location and you'd like to meet with us, we'll be happy to set something up with you at one of our satellite locations. But the best place to get more information about us is on our website.
Yeah, man, it's your boy 45, man. And you want to be on the show, hit us up, everything Top Down Magazine. That's again, hit us up, everything like Top Down Magazine. If you want to be on the show, email us at topdownmagazine@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Top Down Magazine. And it's another edition of The Hot Seat. Yep.
Look, this that type of shit make you reminisce. Close your eyes, I'ma take you back to 1990. Wait, hold up, rocks up on my wrist. Haters got me pissed. Couldn't nobody tell me that Lil Kiki wasn't the shit. Screw the greatest ever. Gold coin on the bezel. Get jeans with a sharp crease that'll cut right through your lip. If you had a set of 84s, you had about 80 hoes. Pulling up, fogged up, steering wheel like a walnut, sipping on a tall cup of that medicine. Bill Clinton, my president. Trunk knocking like the door's locked. Candy paint, look Photoshop. Screens lit, watching RoboCop. 9.5 Air Max polo top. Trunk waving, putting on a show like it's sold out. What you know about that 9.6? Gas was damn near 90 cents. Everybody credit too legit. It feel like 1996. Rocks up on my wrist. Haters got me pissed. Couldn't nobody tell me that Fat Patrick wasn't the shit. You can roll with Trump cause Bill Clinton my president. Man, this feel like 1996. Yeah, ballin' in the mix, still hitting lists. I swear it feel like 1996. Rocks up on my wrist. Haters got me pissed. I swear it feel like 1996. Look, I never had a problem getting hoes, but I always had a problem keeping them. Sitting sideways, off balance like an equilibrium. Might just cause a wreck. Sliding down sky, fender bouncing like a bad chick. In 1996, I was only 10. Stealing screw tapes from my uncle, knowing he was gonna get pissed again. Astro World, Astrodome, I love this city I'm living in. Where the police pull you over just to take a picture with your rims. Heater in your lap in case a hater posing as a friend. Clyde Drexler with the only player trying to get a win. French's Chin, better read the fine print again. Riding 83s, that's 100-yard penalty. K-Roll in the drain, that'll get your head split again. Candy paint dripping, don't forget to take your insulin. Southside in this bitch, you can flicker, I'ma work the wrist. You can catch me leaning on the switch, I swear it's 1996. Rocks up on my wrist, haters got me pissed. Could nobody tell me that Fat Patrick wasn't the shit? You can roll with Trump cause Bill Clinton my president. Man, this feel like 1996. Yeah, ballin' in the mix, still hitting lists. I swear it feel like 1996. Rocks up on my wrist, haters got me pissed. I swear it feel like 1996.